Hi guys, I'm Octy and I made top 64 at the Italian National this year, playing a Mermail. So let's go with the list. I played the normals, 3 Neptabes, 2 Pikes, 3 Rhine, which is the first card you add to play around the Droll. This deck doesn't lose to Droll, but it loses to Droll with some other entraps. 3 Theus and 3 Dragoons. I think Theus and Dragoons are the best combo to start with of the deck, because you get to add 2 cards, and even if you get drolled, you add the 2 most important cards, because Dragoons add the Minstrel to look at the opponent's hand, and Theus adds Rhine to play with the Coelacanth. So I think this is the best starter to play around Droll. And then 3 Shadow Squads. For the bricks, I play 1 Super Ancient Coelacanth, 1 Reptolfin, 1 statue, which is the Wincon of the deck mainly. This thing to play around Droll, because when you start with the worst starters of the deck, which are like maybe these 3, often you don't have other engine, so maybe you don't have level 3 to reborn with the Poseidra Xyz effect. So that's why we played this one, but after this event I will cut it for the one which banishes himself from the grave to negate an attack to protect statue. Then 1 infantry. I was thinking of cutting it, but it was very important in this tournament. It won me a lot of games against Mitsurugi Raziel, and it forced a lot of things, so I won't cut it anymore. And the Wincon of the deck, which is Minstrel to look at hand, and then the opponent for consistency or like Saki cards, one-offs. I never drew them, and I always removed them going game 2 and game 3, so they didn't matter at all. I only drew Call By in my last match of the day, but it got Ghost Belled. So then for the Entraps and Board Breakers, I played 3 Poseidra, which was the card that I often like to open when going second, and I lost almost every dice roll. I won 2 of them, but one of them I break it on the spot, so I went like, look at my hand and pass. But when going second, this card was nuts all the day. 3 Fuvalos, which like almost never resolved. 3 Purulia, which I never drew in the entire tournament, never. 3 Ash to stop the Charmies, 3 Impulses, and 3 Drolls. I know that Drolls conflicts with the Charmies, but I don't care, because if this gets ashed or this gets ashed, then this resolves. And sometimes maybe you drew a bit and then stop them, so it was not bad at all. And sometimes I drolled myself when going first to stop the opponent from drawing, because I can play under drolls, it's not a problem. So let's go with the extra deck. I played 1 Lizardos, because in some combos, especially when going second, you have a lot of bodies, but you don't have cards in hand to discard. So this way you transform resources on the board in resources in hand. It was very important. Anemone to reborn something, and Neptabes to protect the statue. And I only played these 3 links. Then for the Xyz, level 2 Dragon to add back 1 water from the graveyard for the same reason of Lizardos, but the Lizardos you cannot do it under Droll, while this yes. 1 Gaius, which I almost never made, the one which reborns and buffs. It's her effect to buff the attack of all water monster by 600 came up a lot, and then Poseidra to reborn. Finally Kraken, which is very strong, because sometimes when you are under Droll, you don't have cards to discard for Rhine effect, and you must end on something on board which protects the statue, and this is the thing. And he also stops like all the Finsmith lines, so it's really strong. Then the Synchro 6, which a lot of people don't play anymore, but I played because then I transform 2 level 3s in this one, reborning the Pikes. I think it's important to use it. The Synchro 7, which OTKs a lot. Summoning of statue from the deck. Dragite was often used when I went against decks which opened either talents or called, because that way maybe they can out the barrier statue. Sometimes you can shuffle call by in the deck with this card, but because you remove it with Minstrel and then you shuffle it back with this card. But sometimes you must remove one entrap from their hands, so at that point called stays in the hand, and that's when Dragite comes the most. Trishula, because sometimes under draw you cannot add Minstrel to banish a card from the opponent hand, and at that point you must banish it via Trishula. It's really important to make the combo. The statue Bodyguard, Chenging, it protects always the statue with the Rain effect from the graveyard, but sometimes under draw you don't have a card in hand to discard, and that's why I was playing for Poison Kraken to make it instead of Chenging. And the last card was Ice Jade, which is a card that nobody's playing a lot, but I think it's very strong against Mitsurugi Raziel, because against the deck, if you go statue, Ice Jade and Gaios, they really hardly out the board, so the card is really strong, even against Crystron, which is a deck that we fear a lot, because statue doesn't do anything against them, while this card is very strong. And that was the extra. I didn't play the Bombardino Crocodrillo, which draws 2 cards, because I was always under draw. It would have never came up. And then I didn't play the Link 2, which summons the big fish from the hand. It would have came up one time, but in the end I played anyways, so I mean it's cuttable for using other cards. Like if I had to choose a card to remove, it would be Gaios, because I never summoned it almost, but you cannot cut Gaios, so in the end you won't cut anything. For the side deck, when going first I was playing 2 Minstrel and Mulinglacha. I consider this card a big brick. All the other bricks of the deck you can use them while comboing, while this one is very bad. People stopped charming you in standby because talents is now at 1. So in testing, when I had this card, I would have lost that game. I decided to play it on the side, because game 1, if they Fuva me, they Fuvalos, I just go full combo. If I lose because they nib me, then game 2, I respect nib and I put this card in. If not, this card, like I used it maybe 2 times this tournament. Like I don't think it's really important. And these are the only going first cards I have, with these 3 cards, which are both going first and going second. I removed the 6 Charmies and I put these 6 cards when going first. This card is really strong, both going first and going second. When blind second, because people scoops a lot against this deck, while not against me, because I never won the dice roll, but against other people, yes. I wanted to play 6 cards, which are flexible and almost good against every matchup. So I played the Arrows and Salesban. When going blind, I was putting these 6 cards in, because they are both good, even against Maris, then against Mitsurugi. So I really like this card, even against the Blue Eyes and Memento. It's really strong. People doesn't expect it. I think this is the card which won me a lot of games this tournament. Then I was playing Freelancia, which is a card that no one knows that even it's good against us. I had a plan against Lancia, which was to summon the King, Gaios, and like this was my board when playing under Lancia. So it's anyways a very good board against both of the meta decks, and you make it pretty easy, but I never got Lancia, so it was not a problem. Then the last 3 cards are 2 DD Crows. I think they are very strong, both in the mirror against Memento against Mitsurugi Pure and against Fire King, but other than that I never sided it. Maybe even against like Crystron it's very good, but I never used them and I never drew him them, so it didn't matter at all. And then the last card was the Penguin. I had one tie in the entire tournament because of the time. I had one situation in which this card would have came up. I went like with 30 seconds on the clock in my main phase 1, but I really hard braked, like drawing a really bad hand against Crystron. I started comboing, but I knew I couldn't arrive to this card, and also my opponent had an entrap, so we ended it in a tie. But if I drew a little bit better, this card would have me winning the match that I tied. The two matches that I lost them because I bricked when going first, drawing only entraps. Happens. For this video, I wanna say a big thank you to Amir, which is my testing partner with this deck. We play this deck like since day 0. We always speak about how our tournaments went and things like that. Really thank you to Baunico, which helps me a lot with the cards to side against the various matchups which I will have encountered during the tournament. And a special thank you to the people which lended me the cards like Purulia, which I never drew, and like Impulse, which saved me a lot in a lot of games against Russell Mitsurugi. So thank you Pepe Pomo for lending me the cards. And that's all, thank you, and to the next deck profile.